recording.
Post game's looking sad.
Yeah, the game was looking sad too.
Everything
is looking sad.
I'm not. I watched a few minutes of the Cooligans.
Why?
And I'm just not as optimistic as they were pregame. Because I don't think Ronnie knows how to use Hebert at all.
Yeah.
Simply doesn't know how. It didn't look like they had an identity at all.
Yeah, people on Twitter were saying, like, what even was the attempt at tactics for this game? Because I guess what that even really boils down to is the fact that we went into a must-win game with 6 defenders.
You couldn't, like, I couldn't watch that game and say, oh, we're trying to use our width, we're trying to, play out wide, or we're trying to play through the middle. It just looked like he was like, you guys are all talented and skilled, just figure it out, and I'll maybe organize the defense. But the defense was arguably the least.
That was the worst part.
Put together. Like, it just wasn't.
We were ball watchers FC for the first 30 minutes, and then Medina hit a worldie, which I guess validates him being on our roster for as long as he's been. But he's never done anything besides that is the thing.
If there's one thing I'll do, it's I'm always going to keep it real. And I'm going to say 100% how I feel. And it doesn't seem like Ronnie knows what he's doing, at least in the MLS. He could have been the greatest coach ever from wherever he came from. Mm-hmm. But he simply doesn't know how to break down a team in the MLS. He doesn't know how to organize an attack. We've scored 1 goal. That's the biggest stat. You can say whatever you want. The biggest stat, 1 goal, 400 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not even like that the chances were there and we weren't scoring. Like, the chances aren't even really there.
No, the chances were all, let me hit it from outside of the box and hope for something. Let me just whip my foot at it or run past the easy tap in because I was too eager. Yep. Like, players out of position.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't.
I mean, it was 4 or 5 times when we just watched the game where it was like Hebert was in our back third of the field picking up space because none of the 6 defenders that we had on the field was doing it. And then he would actually like make an attempt, win possession, but he can't pass it to himself up the field if he's there. So it's like I've never been the guy to jump to say this manager needs to go out. This manager is messing up. Yeah. But in this case, like, he literally, you can't explain Hebert going from 15 goals in 22 games to not scoring and not really even having great chances. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because that was the story, like, legit the story of our, like, excitement was that we were going to have Hebert for a full season. Like, look at what he did on a half season. Let's see what he does on a full season. And now we're 4 games through, and the dude hasn't really had like a shot that even should have gone in, if you think about it.
Yeah. And when you look at the team, is that even our best first team? Genuinely, when you look at it, we have no clue.
Yeah.
Who is our best 11? Because it can't, like, Castellanos.
There's pieces that were in there that are part of our best 11, but there's like so many dudes that are like question marks. Like, Medina and Izzy are in a position battle that also like includes Mitrita whenever he's healthy, like, and then how are they all fighting for different positions, like,
and not scoring?
Yeah,
like for example, the position battle in a team like Manchester United, which is obviously levels and levels better than New York City FC and the MLS, but it's like, they're all in a battle because they're all coming on and they're all scoring and they're all getting in on it.
Yeah. And
that's why it's a position battle. Not just because you're like, oh, well, this guy's not performing, so let me throw on Izzy. Let me throw on Mackay Steven. It has to be, you're putting a guy in there because you know he's going to have an effect.
Yeah.
And that's not what we feel like right now.
No, he was just sort of putting in players like, let's hope they're going to do something. Like,
I wanted more fire from him too. Like, you kind of heard him chirping from the sidelines.
Yeah, but that wasn't even until like half an hour in.
Exactly, and
it doesn't even seem he wasn't really giving instruction. He was more just mad at what he had genuinely created himself.
Yeah.
Like, there was way too much space in the midfield.
Yep.
We were way too far apart. And there was a part where he was saying, like you guys have to
get all in,
get together. But half the players weren't even listening. They were all just grabbing water, listening to them, like listening to their friends or whatever. And then you see Orlando, and they're all
they're together.
They're standing over a dry erase board.
This dude has like a chess game laid out,
like actually giving tactics.
Yeah,
and saying,
taking notes.
You need to exploit this area or whatever. It just does. It's not there, and I don't think the situation of the tournament is enough to say like, okay. Like, this is why.
This is the reason
you're not performing.
Well, it can't even just be that, because, like, we have to take into account the first 2 games of the season, which was normal. Like, we have to take in a preseason, but also, like, Champions League as well.
Yeah.
And like, this has just been a track record at this point.
The only time that we looked good was against whoever it was in the Champions League.
San Carlos.
I couldn't even tell you. San Carlos.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you the name.
And even then, we lost composure at the end of those games.
We could have lost them.
Yeah, we literally could have lost. Like, I think at that point, the reason why we didn't lose is because the players switched on and were like, we're not about to give this up. Like, I don't think it was any type of intervention from Ronnie, which...
So, at this point, we're looking at, other people having our destiny. Yep. And going into this, there was nobody more confident than us that we were going to dominate the tournament and go through flying colors. Like, nobody's, what are they gonna do to us?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, dude, I don't want us to go through on a 3rd seed.
Yeah, like I was like, we were talking during the game, and I like was almost like before Medina scored, I was like, just pile it on Orlando because I want them to like realize the severity. Like, because I don't even know if they do realize. Because, like, this happened to us against Toronto in the playoffs, and you would think something like that should, like, strike a chord in your players to, like, I don't know, like, because they're not bad. Our team isn't bad.
No, all of the players
they're all talented.
All of them.
And you would think that, like, being down bad like that against Toronto in the playoffs, like, even though it was one stupid tackle, like, but that should strike a chord, like, all right, we have to get better. And then, like, that didn't do it because we went to the Champions League and then we got handled by Tigres. You would think again, okay, here's where the chord gets struck. Then we go into week 1 of the MLS and like whatever, Chanot got the red card,
which was terrible.
Yeah, it was an awful call. Whatever, we took the L. Like, so that's sort of. But then week 2, we take it now. You hope again they're gonna start taking this thing seriously. And then we go off, and so we're like, now we get all this rest, and we're back for the tournament. And then week 1, we take an L, and it's like maybe now they're going to take this serious. Like,
how much of it is them taking it seriously and them just not being led correctly?
I think it's a mixture, I guess, because...
I mean, because you can see them, they're flying into tackles and stuff like that, but I think a lot of it is frustration more than them actually physically playing with heart.
I mean, it's crazy because you see on the field, like, Ring leads this team more than Ronnie does, I feel like. At least, maybe not even tactics-wise, although that could be a part of it, but, like, emotions-wise, bro, you see Ring, like, Ring is, when he's on the pitch, is just running this team, like, simply emotionally. And it's just, like, I wish we were getting that out of our manager, too.
He needs help tactically. And genuinely, and this sounds like a low blow, but genuinely call Dome. Like, what hurts calling Dome and saying, hey, I literally cannot figure this out. How we're, like, or even ask the players. Most of those players were there with. And just say, hey, how were you guys making runs and stuff like that? Like, it doesn't seem that hard with that much talent on a roster. I mean, I don't even know how to compare this.
I don't know.
This seems too good to be in this position.
Yeah, it's like getting to the point where I'm watching the game and I'm like, we're looking at Orlando and it's like, how do they have all these savages on their team? Like Mueller, Nani, like all these dudes. And it's like, why don't we have savages? But it's like over the past
5 or 6 games now, we've been conditioned to think like, hey, Bear can't score goals.
Yeah,
because
he's been playing. I don't even know. It seems almost like Ronnie's trying to play Hey Bear like he's Firmino or something. Like he's supposed to drop back and collect the ball and play it forward and then run 30 yards. And
well, it's cool when you're Firmino, and then when you're dropping back, getting the ball and playing it forward, you have like Salah or Mane up there. Like we have Tati, and then your pick of Medina, Izzy, like it. And then that's a whole nother thing is like if we're going to be constantly switching this starting roster around, like how are these dudes supposed to create like some type of chemistry to work together? Like,
I mean,
because that's what you see is that a lot of people are being selfish too on the field. Like Matrita is the king of being selfish on our team, and I mean Izzy is selfish occasionally too.
I think
where it's like, dude, pass the ball.
Selfish.
Well, there were situations
he should have been more selfish and ripped it on his left foot. While we were down 2-1.
Yeah, there were situations where.
But even then, it's like it's like earlier in the match where he just let it fly because nobody was making a run.
Yeah.
Nobody was.
Well, at least then you saw him look, see nobody, and then take a solid
and then
shot.
It's just like, well, I'll
like
hit
I don't,
it then.
and I don't even know how much of that is like selfishness. It may not even be. It's like they might not be getting direction.
Yeah.
To like, you know what I mean? Like if Ronnie is telling them like, yo, lay it off to the wing when you get into certain positions, and then at the same time telling the wingers like, make sure you're coming up behind and doing all this. Like they literally might just not be getting this direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I don't know. Like some people might. I've seen people say, oh, well, their keeper had a master class, or even talking about the Union game, saying that Andre Blake had a master class, and it's like, yeah, but at the same time, they're professionals and they need to be finishing better.
Yeah.
Like you can't excuse that. The amount of times that I saw people being in poor positions and running past what would have been an easy tap in. We could have scored 6 tap ins, or more.
Yep. Hey Bear had 2 cherry pickers where if he didn't bite too hard on the initial shot, then I mean it was a sitter, like a 6 to 10 yard sitter.
If you start buying into the excuse of like the keeper had a great game, you're gonna turn into a team that goes from a top tier team who's barely surviving to even make the playoffs.
See, I sort of feel like that's, I don't know if it's so much what our player says, but maybe this is what they're getting from Ronnie is like, oh, we lost because that keeper had a great game, and just it was an unlucky result.
Or the refs. I mean, you can say a lot about the refs, and the ref in this game particularly, I felt was terrible, and that was one of the worst games I've seen from a ref.
Felt but like what's his name from the Prem, the bald guy. Is it Tim or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't like him.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's while I feel that he had a terrible game, you can't say, oh, well, we lost because the ref was terrible.
Yeah.
No, you lost because you couldn't score.
Right.
You couldn't get the simple tap-ins. You couldn't create simple chances. And I kept telling you, I'm getting mad that they can't do the simple things.
Yeah.
They can't pass between each other. They can't be in a right position.
Or just taking that touch that, is a good touch. Like, it's just, everything is just out of whack with the team right now.
And I feel like Chanot 12 months ago was controlling that back line, screaming at everybody to get in place. Sean Johnson screaming at everybody to get in place because there was a level of accountability. Sean Johnson was being held accountable by Chanot. Chanot was being held accountable by Johnson. The whole team was being held accountable by Ring and Doné. And it's like, now what, you're going to get yelled at on the sideline and you can barely hear it?
Yeah. I felt like Dame definitely had a different type of passion that he was approaching the leadership, quality of managing with, that we're just like not getting from Ronnie. Like we saw when the second goal was scored and they kind of just showed Ronnie sitting on the bench, like
sitting there,
like just down bad. Like he wasn't like, I feel like at that point he had accepted like, wow, we just took the L and it's the 9th minute.
Yeah, and that you said out loud, you were like, he doesn't even look
like
he has a plan.
Yo, get up.
He doesn't look like he has a plan. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing.
Nah.
He seems like a fish out of water.
Yeah. And then when and we see that as fans, like imagine you as a player like looks for validation at your coach, and he's sitting there looking like that.
Yeah.
Like definitely. To you, that then it's like, all right, we're alone out here, and then they play like they're alone out there, like they don't have a leader.
Yeah, it looks like that. And I mean, it's not like I don't want to make it seem like it's doomsday. Like this tournament,
no, it's not doomsday.
In reality, was made out of nothing, and the circumstances are wild. But at the same time, New York expects better than this. The team should expect better than this, and any player that wears that jersey should respect the badge more than to play the way that they did in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm gonna, obviously we're gonna watch the game tonight, and we're gonna watch the game against Inter Miami, but it seems as though
we're getting into like, it sucks that we have to be in the situation where like, all right, if Orlando does this and then Philly and Inter do this,
and then on top of that, we have to get lucky to be one of the third teams that get in. It's like,
and then that's not going to happen just based off our record. So it
seems like we're looking forward to whenever the MLS actually comes back.
Yeah.
Which, who knows? Maybe they'll play their whole season like this, but I doubt it. How are you going to keep these guys from their family for that long? Like, it just doesn't seem realistic. So
I guess, I mean, one like saving factor, you could think back to last year where we had like a pretty rough slump at the beginning of the year, and then Dame had an ability to turn it around, and we ended up winning the Eastern Conference. It's like, I mean, at the end of I guess the final result is that it's an Eastern Conference, but like the path there for that first half, it's like we're just so down bad the entire time.
You have to think though, at that point, it was a regular season. So it was like you lose on Sunday, you're playing again Thursday, Friday. At this point, we've lost today on Tuesday, and we'll play again when we face Inter Miami.
Yeah.
But after that, we're like,
and the game most likely means nothing too.
And at that point, that means that we've had 3 different starts to the same season.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to restart all over again. You know, get everyone back together. It just seems, I don't know.
And you go into each of those breaks like as a loser, essentially. Like you're going in there with a losing mentality.
Because we lost after the first break, we had just lost to Tigres, and a late winner.
Yep.
And then we come back,
take 2 L's in 2 weeks, and then we take 4 months off, which you would think would be enough to maybe shake the feeling.
Yeah, I hate being a Debbie Downer, but they haven't given us any up for a long time. Outside of that Medina goal, we've had nothing to grab onto and say, at least we had that.
Just the Eastern Conference thing, but we didn't get the Shield anyways, and then in 2 weeks, we got knocked out of the playoffs in like the worst fashion possible. So that just completely took away from being the Eastern Conference
being
champions.
There, that was the most depressed place I've ever felt. Like, it went from straight, like the best atmosphere I've ever felt at a live event.
Yep.
To straight depression. Everybody was depressed, and we were all booking our thinking about our ideas to go to the next game already.
That's what I was gonna say. It was like a good thing because we recorded prior stuff like content to this that just never ended up making it out. But like, if people that hear this had listened to what we said in that past like recording, I mean,
you would have thought that New York was they wouldn't even have to play the third game.
Yeah.
Why at that point? Why play the third game?
Yeah, I
mean, we up 10 goals to 0 and
it was
wins.
Just like we went into that playoff game. Like, we were just expecting that we had a ride to, I mean, I guess the finals at least. That's what I would have thought. That's what I thought going into the playoffs was that at the very least I'm cool with us getting to the finals, whatever happens, but like to be at the show. And this one, it was even, I mean, I don't know how we're so damaged where we were even at the game to see that happen. And then going into this tournament, we were like beyond the finals. We were like, we want the cup.
And I was even thinking like, oh, who could we possibly see from the West?
Yeah,
like,
who could we lose
in this final? And I don't know. It just, maybe this is what it's like being an Arsenal fan. or supporting Spurs. I don't know. I don't know what to compare it to, but it hurts, and I just want a little bit more from the boys. That's all.
Yeah. Does it remind you of like your Steeler fandom at all in the recent years?
In the sense that we always have
pieces,
top guys, and that can never just do that final thing, or little injuries like Maxi and Matriza and stuff like that.
It's crazy because like finishing really is just like our finishing goal wise, finishing competition wise, like just across the board. Like finishing is a word that's not in our definition.
I think also
or our dictionary.
The MLS right now, while they are pulling off what they'll consider a miracle, the UFC has been doing things flawlessly. Yeah. Way better for way longer. Yeah. Maybe give Dana White a call and don't have these games kick off 15, 20, 30 minutes late. Yeah. Because I'm not saying this is an excuse for NYCFC. This is an excuse for the entire
just
league.
For an athlete.
Like for an athlete to be ready at 8 o'clock and that game doesn't start till 8:30. Yep. Mentally that's half of
you're planning,
a third of a game.
Yeah, you're planning days in advance for a specific time. So it's not, like you said, it's not an excuse at all for how we performed. We're bad.
I'm saying
we perform poorly.
It looks bad from the outside when you're trying to get the world to watch this thing. And even you're thinking in the UK, what are people gonna wake up at? Whatever it is, 12 at night
or something.
No, it's like 12, 1 in the morning. Like U.S. fans are willing to do that to watch the Premier League. I don't think that UK fans are jazzed to do that and stay up.
There definitely isn't much
on a work night,
a global audience.
So getting these things started on time so the people who are doing that and who are dedicated overseas can at least watch and not feel jaded that they have to wait 30 minutes for a game to kick off. Yeah. Everybody in the area is tested, so what could possibly be delaying the games?
And it sucks because in the previous recording too, we talked about how, because beyond just NYCFC, we're fans of the MLS as a league and trying to build a soccer culture in America. And what better time than when realistically there's no other sports happening to just capture the audience, because people that are really down for sports, it doesn't matter if they don't think soccer is cool, but if there's nothing on, you see people watching golf. We watched golf. Yeah. We don't watch golf. So people that don't watch soccer, they'll watch soccer because they like sports,
especially right now.
Yeah. And it's why not take the biggest advantage that you can to try to bring more fans in. This is the golden opportunity. And it's it just everything.
Start watering that pitch and get the game started at 8 o'clock when it's listed at 8 o'clock.
Everything just
feels it seems I've never dealt with logistics at that level
with running a tournament,
but it just seems so simple from the outside.
Yeah.
But anything else?
Not really, man. I just wish things were different.
I do too, man.
I just wish things were different.
I think they'll be better in the future.
Yeah.
But right now it seems like just doom and gloom.
Yeah. So this wasn't really what we had planned for the first episode. We had a dossier of all these things that we wanted to talk about, but didn't get around to it before the game. So here we are reacting to this post game
after many computer deaths and any problem that you think
everything
can pop up have popped up. So we're a bit delayed in actually recording for the first time, but it just seems like after everything that's happened with the team, it's impossible not to come on and talk.
Yeah, the game ended 45 minutes ago. Yeah, so this is as raw as it gets, really.
Yeah.
But
we plan to have longer episodes.
Yeah. And probably around 45.
Probably gonna end up making clips and stuff like that. But but mainly focusing on getting out longer content. Yeah. Even going towards. We'll see what's happening after the tournament, and maybe even commenting on some of the other games. But
because the NYCFC well of content will run dry within a week. So
we'll see what's going on, and upload what we can. Maybe talk about some other things other than just NYCFC, but we'll see what's going on.
Yep, just try to get our ideas out and get them out there, because we can't just we can't keep this doom and gloom. We can't keep this doom and gloom up here, man.
We're way funnier than this. It's just our feelings are hurt at the moment.
I wish this sort of probably sounds exactly what it would have sounded like that was it a January night, was it?
Yeah.
If we had come back from Citi Field and we plopped down here.
Well, my voice simply wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it would have sounded a little bit worse.
Dude, you bought a hat that said
I've resorted to, I'm looking to look right here. I've resorted to flipping my scarf that I got that night inside out because it doesn't display the 2019 MLS.
Yeah, we don't
want
to remember that anymore.
I just don't want to, or the towels that they handed out, the hats. I'm going to take out a stitch from a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply because we got embarrassed.
So you could wear it.
Any hooser.
Anyway. That'll do
close this thing out, man. Thank you guys for watching.
Yep.
We'll see you guys soon.
See ya.